T&D Sports, an exclusive video broadcast.
From Adelphi University, it's our second semifinal here in the Catholic League. The number 2 seed, Holy Trinity, and the number 3 seed, St. Mary's. Thanks for joining us here on the T&D Sports Network. I'm Thomas Gamba. He's Rowan Brunetti. Partner, this is going to be a fun one after we just saw a thriller from Chaminade and St. Dominic's.
Yeah, I'm not sure how this one's going to top that one, but hey, these two teams are uber talented. This game is going to be fantastic. Two of the top teams on Long Island, two of the hottest teams on Long Island getting after it.
And let's start with Holy Trinity. They're an experienced group. They bring back a lot of talent from last year, a team who lost in the semifinals to eventual champion St. Anthony's. Talk to me about the pieces that they have to have a championship run this year.
Yeah, they've got 4 starters who 4 of their 5 starters from last year are returning this year. That's led by Tristan Thomas and Jagger Verzosa, the pair of Malloy commits who are going to be playing for their former head coach Joe Conifrey. And then you've got the Reed twins. Ryan and Miles have been fantastic for this Titans team. And Steve Ganous, in his first season, 20 wins. How about that for the Titans?
Well, from one first-year coach to another, Paul Tricarico leading the St. Mary's Gales to 19 wins, a 3 seed this year, and they have been on a 14-game win streak, one of the, if not the, hottest team on Long Island.
I think this team is playing the best out of any school on Long Island right now. These guys have been fantastic. They're putting up almost 80 points a game. They dominated Kellenberg in the quarterfinals. Holy Trinity's got a huge problem on their hands. This game, if St. Mary's on their game, watch out. This game can get out of hand quickly.
And a big reason because of their success is our spotlight player of the game, Morel Tony. He's played 12 games this year. St. Mary's has won every single one of them.
And this guy is averaging close to a triple-double. How often do you say that in high school basketball? This guy's the real deal.
Moving over to the Holy Trinity side, the only team that we have not seen play in these Catholic League playoffs, and boy, you mentioned it, they're a deep group, and outside of those seniors that you mentioned, Jagger Verzosa and Tristan Thomas, they have a ton of talent. The Reed brothers, Yeye as well, all juniors, and look out for Nick Delva and Makai Reeves off the bench along with Carter Dean, but we'll spotlight Tristan Thomas, one of those Malloy commits that has been playing excellent basketball this year.
Yeah, actually just announced his commitment yesterday, 8th in the league in scoring, averaging 14.2 a game, hit a game-winning buzzer-beating 3 against St. Dom's a couple weeks ago. This guy is, the offense runs through him for Holy Trinity.
Big-time players, a big-time matchup on our hands here on the T&D Sports Network. Stay tuned. It's number 2, Holy Trinity, against number 3, St. Mary's, when we come back.
Experience. Trusted. Proven. Excellence. Over 20 years of professional sports video production, the industry standard, T&D Sports Video Production. Whether it's a single game, a whole season, or a college recruitment video, T&D Sports is your one-stop video solution. T&D Sports Video Productions. All sports, all levels, all the time.
Williams tops the key. Williams attacks right, spins, kicks it out. Chris Williams fakes, drives, and throws it down! Chris Williams with the right hand. View tries baseline, stops, kicks it out. Taylor left corner 3. Bottom! Big-time delivery from James Taylor Jr. Moore at half court, poised for the tie! No good! And St. John the Baptist is moving on to the championship.
inside to Kieran. Kieran launches for three. She hits. Robinson looks for help. Priester drives, banks it home. And that's going to do it. Sacred Heart with a convincing 10-point victory.
Top of the key. Williams attacks right, spins, kicks it out. Chris Williams fakes, drives, and throws it down! Chris Williams with the right hand. View tries baseline, stops, kicks it out. Taylor left corner three. Bottom! Big time delivery from James Taylor Jr. Moore at half court, poised for the tie! No good! And St. John the Baptist is moving on to the championship. Back from Adelphi University, Thomas Gamba, Roman Brunetti with you. Here we go, Roman. What do you expect from this one?
Yeah, I'll start with St. Mary's. This is the team that averages close to 80 points a game. From them, I'm expecting a lot of transition. They want to run. And when they get into the front court, watch for a lot of three-pointers, especially guys like Miles Herbert, Noah Patterson, and Justin Mompoint. These guys love to let it fly. On the other side, Holy Trinity, they like to play a little bit more slower, and this is a very experienced group. Look for guys like Jagger Verzosa and Tristan Thomas to get things organized early and get the offense rolling for this Titans team.
Both teams have first-year head coaches. Paul Tricarico on the side for St. Mary's, Steve Ganous on the side for Holy Trinity. St. Mary's last year went 1-11 in league play. They were the 7th and last seed in the NSCHSAA. They lost in the first round, but now they have a chance to punch a ticket to the championship round. What a turnaround for this St. Mary's group.
Yeah, and we spoke to head coach Paul Tricarico before the game, and he's a former St. Mary's Gale, graduated early 2000s, played on a couple of championship teams, and he really talked about wanting to bring back that winning culture at St. Mary's. They brought in a lot of new guys, but they kept some of the veteran leadership from previous teams, and this is a team that's grown their win total by 13 from last year. Just tremendous from the boys from Manhasset.
Ton of transfers on this team. You look at Hank Williams, you look at Morel Tony. Tony transferred from Uniondale, Williams from Lawrence Woodmere Academy, and those two guys alone have done just monstrous things this year for the Gales.
Yeah, and we already spoke about Tony. How about Hank Williams leading the team in scoring 17.2 a game? That's good for third in the league. Coming in from Lawrence Woodmere, he's an 1,000-point scorer as just a junior. This guy loves to shoot the basketball. Holy Trinity's got to keep an eye on him from the perimeter.
So the starting lineups for both teams: for Holy Trinity, Tristan Thomas, Jagger Verzosa, Ryan Reed, Miles Reed, and Manny Ayeye. For St. Mary's, it's Hank Williams, Maury Tony, Noah Patterson, Justin Mompoint, and Miles Herbert. St. Mary's will go left to right in their Road Navy uniforms with white lettering and numbering, and Holy Trinity in their white unis with green lettering and numbering as the Titans win the tip, and we're underway. Jagger Verzosa, the Malloy commit, a 3-year varsity player, controls for Holy Trinity. Inside they go. Ayeye saves it in. Verzosa resets. Tristan Thomas, one of the top scorers in the NSCHSAA, gets the ball wide open three. Too strong. Long rebound. Almost tracked down by Holy Trinity, but out of bounds. It's St. Mary's basketball.
Holy Trinity's a lot less reliant on the three-point ball compared to St. Mary's, but don't be fooled. These guys can knock it down too, averaging right around 7 threes a game. They can hit him with the best of them.
And Thomas, a capable shooter, had a good look there, just couldn't knock it down. 35 seconds in, Noah Patterson spinning around Miles Reed, dancing in the paint, out to Tony, almost averaging a triple-double this year. Backing down Miles Reed, out to Noah Patterson with the floater. That one short, offensive rebound to Patterson. Musters his way in, outside Tony, a ball fake, a three, too strong, and Verzosa pulls down the rebound for Holy Trinity. Ahead for Miles Reed, dancing down the middle, dribbled it off his foot, but saved by his brother Ryan. 1 minute and 5 seconds in, no score. Holy Trinity, the 2 seed, their first game of the playoffs here in the semifinals. Top of the key, Ryan Reed, a three. Back rim, long rebound, poked free to Miles, inside to Ayeye for 2.
Great effort by Miles Reed on the loose ball, and Ayeye sitting down in the paint for 2.
90 seconds in, Holy Trinity with the first basket. They lead 2-0. Patterson left wing, screen by Tony. Drives inside, stops, floats it up, and misses with the left hand. Rebound Ryan Reed. And he is fouled by Patterson.
Tough start for Patterson, the transfer from Freeport, who actually started his high school career as a freshman at St. Mary's. He left for his sophomore year, went back to Freeport, and then came back to St. Mary's for his junior year. Tough start for him. And something I'm really interested in, Thomas, St. Mary's at home, they play on a small floor. This is a lot larger. I'm wondering if that's going to affect their shooting.
We'll see. They love playing at home, and they're very successful, but now in a neutral site, we'll see how it affects them. Deep three, Ryan Reed, nylon!
Ryan Reed averaging close to 13 a game. He's the better scorer of the two, and he lets one fly from 3.
5-0 Holy Trinity. Herbert into the paint, spins it out to Mompoint. Down the right baseline, lost the ball off the leg of Ayeye, and it stays with St. Mary's. 21 to shoot, and under 6 minutes to go in the first quarter.
And St. Mary's has been so tremendous, as we've mentioned, this back portion of the season. It's going to be so crucial for Holy Trinity to get out to a good start and get that early momentum, make St. Mary's play from behind.
Tony, top of the key, goes right at Ayeye, spins inside, and makes the layup. Maury Tony with an acrobatic finish, and St. Mary's on the board. Thomas the other way for Holy Trinity. Resets in the left corner for the Titans, up 5-2. 5:35 to go in the first quarter. Winner plays St. Dom's, the 4 seed in the championship. Ryan Reed another 3. That one off the front rim, and Miles Herbert the rebound. Ahead to Mompoint, extra pass, Patterson a 3. He laces it, and it's 5-5 with 5:15 to go in the first.
Patterson had 5 threes against Kellenberg. Holy Trinity's got to keep an eye on him.
Thomas double team, the steal by Tony. Herbert ahead to the rim, layup, no! It's blocked by Ayeye, and Holy Trinity goes the other way. Miles Reed lost it. Williams the rebound. Tony inside, the layup goes off the glass.
The transition game favors St. Mary's. Holy Trinity wants to keep this at a slower pace. Titans have to get back on defense, and they've got to try and play this game to their pace.
7-0 run for the Gales. They lead by 2. 4:40 to go in the first. Thomas finds Versosa. Down the middle. Swings it. Reed thinks about it now, fires, and he hits a 3. So the Reed brothers starting to dominate, and they give Holy Trinity a 1-point lead. Miles Herbert down the middle, a 1,000-point scorer, muscles in, missed the layup, but a foul called on Holy Trinity.
We spoke last game about how Melo Mojid's been doing everything for St. Dom's. Past few years, that was Miles Herbert for St. Mary's. He led the league in scoring last year. This guy was making everything last year. Hasn't had to do as much this year with the supporting cast.
Patterson, bottom for 3. That's his second triple of the game, and the Gales lead by 2.
Patterson averaged 18 a game last year with Freeport. This guy can get hot and get hot quickly.
Averages 12 points per game this year. Thomas inside, pull-up jumper, too strong. Tony the rebound. Williams ahead, 2-on-2, behind the back, pull-up, back rim, and Versosa the rebound. Versosa down the middle finds junior Manny Ayeye. Extra pass to Miles Reed. Scanning the floor, back to Ayeye. Fakes a 3, spins inside, layup. Off the back rim, no good, put back, won't go, and Herbert the rebound. Moving left to right with speed, layup, won't go with the left hand, and out of bounds off of Thomas. It'll stay with St. Mary's.
And the game is being played at St. Mary's pace. This is track meet pace, up and down the floor, and this favors the Gales. They want to run. Holy Trinity has to get back in transition.
Ayeye knocked it out of bounds off of Tony. So a turnover for St. Mary's right off the inbound, and Holy Trinity retakes possession, 3:16 to go in the first quarter. St. Mary's leads 10-8. They're on a 10-3 run after the Titans took a quick 5-0 lead. Ayeye right wing. Guarded by Herbert, inside to Thomas, looking for his first points. Trapped up, he goes up strong and somehow lays it through.
I have no clue how he got that ball up on the glass. He was triple teamed and still scored.
Tony, top of the key. Finds Patterson, screen by Tony, gets downhill to the rim, layup won't go, put back by Mompoint, no good, but a foul. Looks like it's on Jagger Versosa, who tried to get that rebound on the backside. And it will be, that's his first. Sends Justin Mompoint to the line for two, averaging 13 points per game. A Newsday top 100 player for St. Mary's.
Yeah, Mompoint, one of the few returners from last year's team for St. Mary's. Another guy that, like Miles Herbert, last year had to do a lot of the heavy lifting. This year hasn't had to do as much, but he can get his fair share of buckets. His high this year, 28 against Chaminade. He could not miss that night in December.
Mompoint goes 0 for 2. Versosa grabs the rebound.
And that's a rarity. St. Mary's is usually automatic from the line.
So maybe that plays into the different court. Remember, St. Mary's dominant at home, but outside of their gym, they haven't been so successful. Thomas offline with a three, and Herbert grabs the rebound. Gale's moving left to right. Herbert gets to the rim. Goes up strong, misses the layup. Putback is good off the right hand of Herbert, and it's a 2-point St. Mary's lead. Also might have been Tony who got the basket there. Both of them were involved there, and I think the scores table gave the bucket to Tony, so it's a 12-10 lead off the basket by Maury Tony. Ryan Reed, top of the key, fakes a three, finds Ayeye inside to Thomas. Sizing up Tony, spins to his left, double team comes. Thomas inside, Miles Reed hangs and finishes.
What an athletic play by Miles Reed, having to adjust midair, and he still was able to drop it in.
Williams scoreless so far for St. Mary's as we're tied at 12. 1:40 to go in the first. Williams penetrating against Ryan Reed. Finds Tony, fakes a three, steps back and fires. Too strong, Ayeye grabs the rebound.
And that's not his bread and butter. Holy Trinity wants to make Maury Tony shoot threes.
Reed backing down Patterson. Bodies in, outside, Thomas, three, drains it from the left wing, and Holy Trinity is on top. 3-point lead for the Titans. 70 seconds to play in the first. Williams, tough shot, won't go. Thomas secures the board.
And Hank Williams wants to shoot, but that is not the shot in that scenario. You don't want to shoot too early. You don't want to chuck up threes, so to speak. Let the possession develop a little bit.
Patterson and Tony have all the points for St. Mary's so far. As Versosa drives, falls away, blocked by Herbert. He has the rebound. Ahead to Tony, tipped and stolen by Ayeye. The other way, it's Thomas, and he missed, but a foul. Williams came from behind as Thomas tried to slam it, but a foul was called, sending Thomas to the free throw line.
Yeah, he wanted to rock the rim, Thomas. Holy Trinity does a great job getting back and forcing the turnover. Thomas, he loaded up. He wanted to jam that one in. Good job by Williams to contest it, but he gets a little bit of the body and sends Thomas to the free throw line for two.
Tristan Thomas drains the first. The Malloy commit, a senior, second year on varsity, already has 5 points today, tied for the leading scorer for Holy Trinity with Miles Reed. Make that 6 points after that free throw. 37 seconds to play in the first quarter. Holy Trinity by 4. Thomas makes it 5.
St. Mary's hasn't had to play from behind very much recently. I'm interested to see. It's 5 right now. What if the deficit gets more? How do they respond?
They've got a young team, a lot of transfers, as we mentioned, not used to the NSCHSAA playoffs as Patterson hangs. He can't make the basket. And Thomas with another rebound. Ahead to Versosa, 15 seconds. Versosa resets with 13. Curls to half court, finds Thomas, fakes a three with 10 seconds. Euro step, outside Versosa, straight on three. Money! Holy Trinity by 8. 3 seconds to go. Herbert from half court won't go. And that ends the first quarter. A 10-0 run for Holy Trinity to end the frame. and they lead by 8 after 8 minutes.
And Holy Trinity looks really good right now. They're playing as a team. They're getting everybody involved. You saw Thomas had 7 points. Verzosa, a huge 3 at the end. Holy Trinity's got to play a full team effort. They're playing one of the hottest teams on Long Island, and right now they're playing to perfection.
But speaking of not a lot of a full team effort, St. Mary's has Tony and Patterson as the only scorers. Hank Williams hasn't seen one go through the basket, nor has Miles Herbert, nor has Justin Mompoint. How does St. Mary's get the rest of the guys involved?
They might need to slow the pace a little bit. I know they love to run, they love to get out in transition, but again, you've only got 2 guys who have scored. You've got to maybe try and spread the ball a little bit, try and take the ball in later in the shot clock. Don't shoot so early. Try and pass it around, try and get some other guys involved. Herbert hasn't scored yet, Mompoint hasn't scored yet. Those are some of the best scorers in the league. You got to get the ball in their hands.
What about on the defensive side for St. Mary's? Holy Trinity has had some wide open shots. We saw Verzosa at the end of that quarter. Thomas had a couple open looks. How can St. Mary's tighten up the defense and keep Holy Trinity from scoring 20 points in the first quarter like they just did?
They just got to pack it in. They're getting a little aggressive and they're getting out of position. They've got to make sure they stay locked in on the Holy Trinity shooters and make sure you can test. Finish every play. Don't give up on the play.
Miles Herbert starts with possession as Holy Trinity defends right to left against St. Mary's. Mompoint top of the key. Drives and rises. That one off the front rim and in. So Justin Mompoint on the board. And St. Mary's starts with a bucket to begin the second quarter.
Right on cue. Just got to create more opportunities for all of these guys.
Carter Dean with possession. First bench player for Steve Ganus in the game. He gets an open shot from the top. Too strong. Tony soars for the rebound. And he'll control. Going right to the body of Thomas. Kicks it out to Williams. Down the left baseline. Step back 2. Front rim no good. Ryan Reed the weak side rebound. Sprinting ahead. Lays it up and puts it in. A coast-to-coast finish. And the Titans lead by 8.
He just outran the whole St. Mary's team, gave them a bit of a taste of their own medicine right there.
Williams tosses to Herbert, extra pass to Tony. They're working the perimeter here. Williams right wing, drives on Ayeye, behind the back, down the right lane, leans, kicks, Mompoint, 15 to shoot, fires a 3. Front rim no good, and Ayeye the rebound. 8-point lead for Holy Trinity, 6:40 to go in the second quarter. Here from Adelphi University. Winner plays St. Dom's, who upset number 1 seed Chaminade earlier. After a miraculous comeback to end the game, they were down 17. They pulled out a 3-point win. Dean wide open, puts it in!
St. Mary's having a couple lapses in defense. Gotta wonder if the lack of offensive success is translating defensively for a team that's won 14 in a row and hasn't had to face adversity in a month.
Mompoint right wing. St. Mary's down by 10. Tony high post. Loves to get inside. Switched onto the smaller Ryan Reed. He'll fire a 3 and knock it down. Ryan Reed left him open and Tony made him pay.
Again, that's not really Tony's game, but that's a huge 3 for him and a huge 3 for this team. They needed that.
9 points for Morel Tony, the leading scorer in this game. St. Mary's still trails by 7. Verzosa up top for Tristan Thomas. The 2 senior teammates both committed to play with Coach Joe Conifrey at Malloy. Verzosa whips it inside. Ayeye saves it. Thomas gets an open look and drains it. Another 3 for Thomas, and it's back up to a 10-point lead. The other way, it's Tony. Sizing up Ayeye. Drops it to Williams. 5:15 to go in the first. Patterson behind the back. Good defense by Dean. Tony, left elbow. Swings it to Williams. 18 to shoot. Williams crosses right. Goes up and lost the ball. Stolen by Dean. And he resets with Ryan Reed. 5 minutes to go in the first half. Dean lobs it to Thomas. Spinning down the baseline. Gets inside and banks it in. Plus a foul.
St. Mary's has had no answer for Tristan Thomas. He is doing whatever he wants right now. He gets the inside positioning on Morel Tony. Just not a good contest by Mompoint coming in on the other side. And I've got to say, Holy Trinity is playing spectacular on the defensive side. Hank Williams wants to shoot hasn't gotten one clean look yet. Miles Herbert hasn't gotten anything either. Holy Trinity's defensive success is translating offensively, and all of a sudden they're up 13.
Thomas completes the three-point play. He's got 13 points to lead Holy Trinity in this one, and they lead by 13 with 4:45 to go in the first half. Patterson with a ball fake. Tough defense by Dean. Patterson finds an opening, fires, and connects from deep. Back to a 10-point game. Patterson with 9 points now.
He had 5 threes against Kallenberg. Can't leave him open if you're Holy Trinity.
He had 21 points in that game to usher the St. Mary's offense to 82 points. Ayeye down the middle, kicks left corner, Dean. Extra pass, tipped by Tony, saved by Dean. Inside to Makai Reeves, reverses blocked by John. Saved by Reeves, 4 to shoot. Reeves inside for Thomas, can't get a shot off, and a shot clock violation. It's St. Mary's basketball.
And that's the defensive possession St. Mary's needed. They needed a stop, and they got it. Tremendous defense, tremendous closeout ability by these Gales players. And something interesting I'm seeing from St. Mary's, they're running a lot of man-to-man today. On Saturday in the quarterfinals, a lot of zone against Kallenberg. I'm interested to see if they consider that later in the game, if they want to switch it up from the man-to-man.
Just over halfway through the second quarter. St. Mary's trails by 10. Herbert, top of the key, 3. Right rim, rebound, tipped up to Tony. He spins in the paint, layup won't go. Tony, another offensive rebound. Inside, but it's stolen by Miles Reed. 2-on-2. Reed to the rim, layup is good with the right hand.
Just not enough movement on the other end from St. Mary's. Tony had to do that all by himself, forced to make a tough pass in traffic. Holy Trinity with the steal, and they go the other way in transition and score.
3:15 to go in the second. Holy Trinity by 12. Mompoint top of the key. Swings for Patterson. Step back 2. Too strong. Weak side rebound by Ayeye. More good defense from the Titans. Ryan Reed, top of the key, crossover, bodies in, outside to Reeves for 3. Won't go, and Patterson the rebound. Ahead for Tony, and that one airmailed over the head of Morel Tony for a turnover.
St. Mary's just doesn't look like the team that played on Saturday. Take another look at this recent possession. Miles Reed just going to work on Mompoint, hangs in midair. Gets his defender out of position and banks home the 2. A timeout on the floor.
It's a timeout by St. Mary's, and we'll be back after this short break. Holy Trinity leads by 12 here in the semifinal round.
Experience. Trusted. Proven. Excellence. Over 20 years of professional sports video production. The industry standard. T&D Sports Video Production. Whether it's a single game, a whole season, or a college recruitment video, T&D Sports is your one-stop video solution. T&D Sports Video Productions. All sports, all levels, all the time.
Welcome back to Adelphi University. Out of the timeout from St. Mary's, it's Holy Trinity basketball, up by 12. Thomas Gamba and Roman Brunetti with you. St. Mary's into a zone defense as Miles Reed rises, misses the floater, gets his own board, kicks it out to his brother Ryan, who fires and misses the 3. Andrew John lost the rebound, but a foul by Holy Trinity.
Titans have just looked one step quicker than the Gales have tonight, evidenced on that last possession. Got the offensive rebound. We've seen a lot of offensive rebounding tonight from the Titans. They just look like they want it just a bit more from St. Mary's.
2:30 to play in the second quarter. Titans lead by 12 over the Gales. Holy Trinity, the 2 seed in this NSCHSAA playoff round. Reed down the middle. Lost the ball, and it's going to be called here. Jump ball. Holy Trinity basketball. That was Herbert on the drive, and he got tied up.
And Thomas, what I'm seeing on the offensive side for St. Mary's, there's just not a lot of movement, a lot of standing around on the perimeter. I watched the game on Saturday against Kellenberg. The way these guys were moving the ball, it was like an NBA team. Today, not as much. A lot of standing around. They got to get a little bit more movement, a little more cutting in and out of the paint.
And it's crazy that you say that because their home gym at St. Mary's is smaller than the one they're playing on now. A lot more space here to do what you just said. Versosa juggles the pass, kicks to Ayeye. He fires. Too strong. And Tony, the weak side rebound. He wants to push. Kicks to Patterson. He fires. Kaboom from three.
Noah Patterson's been the man from downtown for St. Mary's. Cuts the deficit to 9. And Morel Tony, what a play. A no-look pass to the far corner. Saw Patterson, and Noah was able to drill it.
Guy who's averaging about 8 assists per game, almost a triple-double. Morel Tony, what an impact he's made in 12 games this year. The transfer from Uniondale. 15 to shoot for Holy Trinity. Up by 9. 1:15 to go in the second. Ayeye finds Miles Reed. Inside to Ayeye for 2. Off the back rim, and it rolls in.
Thomas, I got to say, these rims are really fortuitous to these shooters today. A couple times the ball, going back to the first game, a couple times the ball's bounced around and dropped.
Williams down the right side. Good defense by Miles Reed to cut him off, and Williams has to get rid of it. Tony left wing, 19 to shoot, directing traffic, finds Williams top of the key, fakes a 3, steps back, crosses on Miles Reed, dishes to Patterson, 10 to shoot, he twirls inside, up and under, can't finish, rebound out of bounds off of Patterson, and it's Holy Trinity basketball.
I am super impressed with the way Holy Trinity is playing defense today. They are forcing St. Mary's into tough looks. St. Mary's wants to shoot, and they just simply haven't been able to today. That's kudos to the defensive development of this Titans team and the work they put in practice the past few days.
Shot clock is off. Holy Trinity can hold for the last shot with 22 seconds. Ryan Reed top of the key, one-on-one with Williams. 18 seconds. Titans by 11. Coach Canoose screaming from the sidelines as Ryan Reed crosses to his right with 10. Outside to Thomas, fires a 3. Nylon! Another 3 from Thomas, 5 seconds. Williams ahead to Patterson with 2. He hoists one up, and he got it at the buzzer! A huge shot to end the first half, and the lead for Holy Trinity is down to 11 after 16 minutes.
Just a tremendous final sequence from these players. I mean, Tristan Thomas has been awesome today as we take a look at the last shot by Patterson from Suffolk County, and he knocked it in like it was nothing. But Holy Trinity has been fantastic on both sides. Again, another look. Patterson from the coach's line. What a shot. And he's been the offense so far, along with Tony, for St. Mary's. But I really want to focus in on Tristan Thomas because he's a big man, but he can shoot it from outside too, and St. Mary's has just they haven't done enough on him from the outside. Thomas has simply been able to do whatever he wants simply on offense, and the Gales have just had no answer. That's got to be a priority in halftime, shutting down Tristan Thomas because he has killed the Gales.
But yes, St. Mary's has had their problems on the defensive end, but how about on the offensive end? You got Patterson with 12 points, Tony with 9. Outside of that, Mompoint, Herbert, and Williams have not found anything on the offensive end.
Yeah, I don't really want to talk about Hank Williams because he's a guy that loves shooting and he gets his open shots and he makes them. He looks really frustrated out there by this tough Holy Trinity defense. Williams just simply hasn't been able, I don't even know if he's put up a shot yet. He's been stymied by this Holy Trinity defense, and they did their homework on this St. Mary's team.
They definitely did. So Patterson, the leading scorer with 15 for St. Mary's. Tony's got 9. Tristan Thomas, 15 points for Holy Trinity. He's been dominant in this one. Stay tuned for the second half here in the TND Sports Network. Thomas Gamba and Roman Brunetti with you. Holy Trinity leads by 11 at halftime.
Experience. Trusted. Proven. Excellence. Over 20 years of professional sports video production. the industry standard. T&D Sports Video Production. Whether it's a single game, a whole season, or a college recruitment video, T&D Sports is your one-stop video solution. T&D Sports Video Productions. All sports, all levels, all the time.
Pumps it inside to Kieran. Kieran launches for three. She hits. Robinson looks for help. Priester drives, banks it home. And that's going to do it. Sacred Heart with a convincing 10-point victory.
Not feeling the love after your last tennis match? We've got specialists for that. Running for the train, derail your knee? We've got specialists for that. Diving after that grounder, leaving you grounded? We've got specialists for that. Orland & Cohen's top orthopedic team has specialized expertise and extensive training from the nation's premier programs in sports medicine, knee, shoulder, hip, spine, hand, foot, and ankle. So you can feel better, faster.
Williams, top of the key. Williams attacks right, spins, kicks it out. Chris Williams fakes, drives, and throws it down! Chris Williams with the right hand. View, drives baseline, stops, kicks it out. Taylor left corner three. Bottom! Big time delivery from James Taylor Jr. Moore at half court, poised for the tie! No good! And St. John the Baptist is moving on to the championship.
Experience. Trusted. Proven. Excellence. Over 20 years of professional sports video production. The industry standard. T&D Sports Video Production. Whether it's a single game, a whole season, or a college recruitment video, T&D Sports is your one-stop video solution. T&D Sports Video Productions. All sports, all levels, all the time.
Pumps it inside to Kieran. Kieran launches for three. She hits. Robinson looks for help. Priester drives, banks it home. And that's going to do it. Sacred Heart with a convincing 10-point victory.
Williams, top of the key. Williams attacks right, spins, kicks it out. Chris Williams fakes, drives, and throws it down! Chris Williams with the right hand. View, drives baseline, stops, kicks it out. Taylor left corner three. Bottom! Big time delivery from James Taylor Jr. Moore at half court, poised for the tie! No good! And St. John the Baptist is moving on to the championship.
Pumps it inside to Kieran. Kieran launches for three. She hits. Robinson looks for help. Priester drives, banks it home. And that's going to do it. Sacred Heart with a convincing 10-point victory.
Experience. Trusted. Proven. Excellence. Over 20 years of professional sports video production. The industry standard. T&D Sports Video Production. Whether it's a single game, a whole season, or a college recruitment video, T&D Sports is your one-stop video solution. T&D Sports Video Productions. All sports, all levels, all the time.
Pumps it inside to Kieran. Kieran launches for three. She hits. Robinson looks for help. Priester drives, banks it home. And that's going to do it. Sacred Heart with a convincing 10-point victory.
Welcome back from Adelphi University. Holy Trinity leads St. Mary's 37-26 after the halftime break. Thomas Gamba and Roman Brunetti with you. Roman, Holy Trinity has turned up the intensity on the defensive side, especially against a tough team like St. Mary's, who put up 82 points in the quarterfinal round against Kellenberg. How have they done it today?
Yeah, they're playing a tough man-to-man defense, and they're really keying in on these St. Mary's shooters. They're making St. Mary's have to get their points inside. They're making it tough for the Gales to get looks from the outside. Now, St. Mary's has had their fair share of looks still, and they've been able to convert most of the time. Noah Patterson's been terrific for the Gales, but I think Holy Trinity's done a very good job of neutralizing St. Mary's enough from beyond the arc, forcing them inside, which is not that's not their bread and butter. Their bread and butter is from outside, from shooting the ball. Holy Trinity's done a good job forcing St. Mary's inside, where Holy Trinity's the bigger and more physical team, and they've taken advantage.
Patterson has 15 points, but outside of that, and Morel Tony, who has 9, really hasn't been anyone else. So how does St. Mary's, as we touched on at the end of the first half, get other guys involved like Hake Williams, like Miles Herbert, who's a 1,000-point scorer, and like Justin Monpoint?
Maybe run a couple plays, couple ball screens, get some maybe some pick and roll action in here. Just some ball movement, some crisp ball movement around the perimeter. Get it inside, a couple paint touches here and there. Might want to see a little bit more Andrew John. That's the big physical man in the middle for St. Mary's. He's been a guy that's really stepped up his play as of late. Might want to see a little bit more of him. Can stretch the floor and force Holy Trinity to lock in on a guy in the paint, which could create some more opportunities outside for the shooters.
It could also help on the defensive side when guarding a guy like Tristan Thomas, who is dominant in the first half. Saw a 3 from him late in that second quarter. What have you seen from him?
He's just out-physicaled St. Mary's. He's been able to do whatever he's wanted. He's been able to get his open looks, and he's been able to hit them. He's been able to put it on the deck and drive, and he's been able to score those opportunities. So Tristan Thomas is really stepping it up here, as he's had all season. He's been arguably Holy Trinity's best player from start to finish this season, and his work is paying off here in the playoffs.
16 points for Thomas to lead all scorers. Not far behind is Noah Patterson, who had 5 threes to lead St. Mary's with 15 points. But outside of him and Morel Tony, the only points coming from Justin Monpoint, who had 1 2-point basket. So Holy Trinity, the number 2 seed, playing in their first game of these Catholic League playoffs, leads by 11 after 16 minutes. But can St. Mary's and their potent offense come back and pull the upset as they try to get to the championship game for the first time since 2011? Opening inbound is knocked out of bounds by junior Manny Ayeye. And Tony lobs it to Miles Herbert in the backcourt. He starts things off scoreless through 2 quarters, the 1,000-point scorer. Been with St. Mary's a while as a senior, but hasn't got going today. Williams, top of the key. Dishes to Herbert. That one behind him and out of bounds. The turnover to start it off, and that relentless Holy Trinity defense at it again.
And just not a great pass there from Hank Williams either. Just missed them simply. Nothing else much to say there.
7:38 to go in the third. Titans lead by 11 under first-year head coach Steve Ganous. going against another first-year head coach in Paul Tricarico of St. Mary's. Reed swings for his brother Miles. He fires. That one off the front rim. Ayeye keeps the possession alive with an offensive rebound. And Versosa smartly resets for Holy Trinity. A new shot clock. Thomas right wing. Finds Ayeye. Back to Miles Reed right wing. Open is Ryan Reed. He fires. Splash from deep.
Holy Trinity, again, has been giving St. Mary's a taste of their own medicine. The Titans have been lethal from downtown. They've been able to find the open shooter, and he's been able to hit.
8 points for Ryan Reed, his second 3 of the night. Patterson, top of the key, had 5 in the first half. Finds Williams with a ball fake. Spins it back to Patterson. He fakes. Spins the right elbow. Dishes to Mompoint, and it's stolen away by Ayeye. Ahead to Versosa, Euro step. Kicks it out. Miles Reed up and under. Can't finish. Put back no good. And a whistle. It goes out of bounds off of Miles Reed. It'll be St. Mary's basketball.
And I know Holy Trinity didn't score there, but a tremendous sequence from them, forcing the turnover. Maybe Versosa should have put that one up on the other end, but hey, it wasn't a bad play to throw it out to Reed, and he had a look from the free throw line, decided to take it inside, didn't score, but Holy Trinity just looks like the better team today. They look more prepared.
And they look like they want it more, putting everything on the floor. Every time they make a good defensive play, the energy is up. Thomas is clapping his hands, and they're getting into the head of these St. Mary's players. Tony, top of the key, had a triple-double in the quarterfinals against Kellenberg. 9 points today. Patterson gets open for a moment, drives inside, bounce pass to Tony, who's blocked by Ayeye. Manny Ayeye with the rejection. He fires a 3, and he knocks it down. Defense into offense, and the Titans lead by 17.
His effort gets rewarded. What a job by Ayeye.
Williams answers with a 2 and the foul. So a silencer for St. Mary's, but look at the block from Ayeye.
What a great job to rotate. Tony is behind him. He has the positioning, but a tremendous reaction. And then on the other end, he hustles back. He gets himself an open look. That is a deep 3, ladies and gentlemen. He made that look easy.
7 points for Ayeye as Williams misses the free throw. A tough night for him, just 2 points. That last basket was his first of the night. Ayeye trips and falls, saves it to Miles Reed. Down the left baseline, goes up strong, missed it over Herbert, and Herbert wrestles away the rebound. Tony in transition, spins, and he's fouled by Ayeye. I think that one's going to be on the floor.
That's what St. Mary's has got to do. They've got to force misses, and they've got to get out and run. That is what they want to do. That is their play style. They love to run. They love to just run past teams most of the time. They haven't been able to do that today. They're going to have to do that in the second half. They got to make some adjustments defensively, and that's going to lead to offensive success.
And remember, this one is never over. We saw with Chaminade and St. Dominic's, the Flyers were up by 17 in the third quarter, and they ended up losing by 3. Now, St. Mary's down by 15 in the third quarter, but they have a potent offense with a chance to make anything happen in this semifinal game, and a lot of time to go still early in the third. 43-28 the score. Herbert driving in. Stops. Goes up. Misses over Thomas. Thomas tips the rebound. Pulled in by Herbert. Outside to Patterson, and he is fouled. So the third team foul on Holy Trinity. And St. Mary's takes the possession once again.
Titans got to be careful. They don't want to put St. Mary's in the bonus. Again, this is a St. Mary's team that's usually automatic from the free throw stripe. You don't want to put them at the line with too much time left in the quarter.
Williams inside. Scoop layup off the rim. No. Rebound poke free to Ayeye. He dishes it off. Versosa, left corner 3. Won't go. Mompoint is fouled. And that's the 4th team foul already on Holy Trinity. It's on Tristan Thomas.
They've got to be smart here. Can't take any silly fouls. I get it, that's in the heat of the moment. That's not necessarily a silly foul, but now you've got to be conscious of how you're playing defensively. You don't want to rack up the team fouls, and you don't want to rack up the individual fouls either if you're on Holy Trinity.
Patterson curling down the right side, goes up, misses, but a foul on Miles Reed. So that'll send Patterson to the line, and now for the rest of the third quarter, St. Mary's is in the bonus.
And bookmark that. This could be a turning point. Anytime St. Mary's is fouled, they're going to be going to the free throw line for the rest of the quarter. We've got 5 minutes here in the third quarter, and this is a team full of shooters.
Patterson drains the first. 5 threes in that first half for the guard from Freeport, a junior wearing number 2.
St. Mary's can make a deficit like this disappear in mere minutes. Holy Trinity's got to keep the pedal to the metal.
Patterson goes 2 for 2. He's got 17 points on the night. St. Mary's cuts the deficit to 13. Versosa. Dangerous pass for Miles Reed. He recovers. Swings to the right wing for his brother Ryan. Guarded by Patterson. Inside IAA. Bounces up on Miles Herbert and knocks it down.
What a skilled play from just a junior. Turnaround in the paint made it look easy.
Tony right wing. Lobs it for Williams. Size advantage on Ryan Reed. Backs it out to the right wing. Tony, top of the key. Puts it on the ground. Layup won't go. Ayeye, another rebound. He races ahead. Shovels it to Versosa. He steps into a 3. Front rim, and the rebound tipped to Tony. St. Mary's wants to run. Herbert missed it. Putback won't go. And the rebound saved in by Mompoint. He relocates and fires that one good for 3.
They need him to step up. Only 2 points to start the game in the first half. He's now got 5. That's a big-time shot for 1 in Navy.
And it's down to a 12-point lead. Timeout, Holy Trinity, with under 4 to play in the third quarter. So St. Mary's has gained some momentum here, and Justin Mompoint with a big bucket moments ago.
Yeah, definitely able to track down the loose change, curls it back out, and is able to knock down a 3. But I really need to see Miles Herbert get going for St. Mary's. It's another look at Mompoint's 3, but I really got to see Miles Herbert get going for St. Mary's. He hasn't done anything offensively. He's had a couple looks. He hasn't been able to convert. And this is the guy that led the league in scoring last year, and he's just found no success at all today. Hank Williams is the same. Had an opportunity on that last sequence. He had the height advantage over Ryan Reed, decided not to use it. That's maybe a situation where you want to see Hank Williams attack. I know he's a knockdown shooter, but you got to see him move into the paint as well today. You know, those are 2 guys that St. Mary's has got to find a way to get going, or else they're going to be in for a tough final few minutes.
And with both of them, you're talking about 2 high-level scorers. Herbert, a 1,000-point scorer. Williams, a star in just 3 years of high school basketball, but they're just not getting it going. And kudos to Ryan and Miles Reed. They faced a size disadvantage on the defensive end, but they held their own as Ryan Reed muscles in, can't finish, and Williams the rebound. Ahead to Herbert. Swings for Mompoint right down the middle. Mompoint lost it, goes up, missed it, and Miles Reed the rebound. He's triple team, gets out of it, finds Thomas, spinning to the rim. Thomas with the finish!
What an athletic play by Tristan Thomas, pirouetting in the paint and scoring for the 2. Unbelievable move from the big man.
14-point Holy Trinity lead as Patterson is fouled. That'll send him to the free throw line. But what an acrobatic finish by Tristan Thomas, who continues to impress.
Patterson caught in a tough position trying to reach in. Thomas exploits that beautifully, spins to his right, and it's easy from there as no one comes on help defense. Tremendous effort from the senior. He has really stepped it up this year for Holy Trinity. He's been the key to this offense, averaging 14 a game. Just an outstanding year from the senior.
And he's got 18 tonight in front of his former and future head coach, Joe Conifrey, who is in the crowd tonight. I spoke to him earlier, rooting on his former Holy Trinity Titans as Patterson goes 2 for 2. He's got 19 points on the night. 3:10 to go in the third quarter. Holy Trinity leads 47-35. Carter Dean just checked into the game off the bench for head coach Steve Ganous. Ryan Reed backdoor, spins left wing, drives inside, lost it, but a foul. He took a hard spill to the deck, and a foul called on Patterson.
Ryan Reed was matched up with Patterson there. 2 small guys working in the post, and Reed looked right at home, went right after Patterson forced a slide from the help defense, was able to draw a foul. A tough catch, but he recovers. And he just goes to work, bodies Patterson.
Short arms the first free throw. Ryan Reed, the second scorer in double figures for Holy Trinity today, along with Thomas, who's got 18. And he misses both free throws, but Ayeye, the offensive board, inside to Ryan Reed. That's rejected by Tony. The other way, it's Mompoint to the rim, and he lays it in.
And Holy Trinity just didn't get back on defense there, and Mompoint made him pay.
Pressure from St. Mary's. Ryan Reed gets it across half court, splits the defense, kicks. Dean fakes a pass, finds Ryan Reed, pull-up jumper, rattles out. Mompoint soars for the rebound, but he was out of bounds. And it's Holy Trinity basketball with 2:28 to go in the third.
Holy Trinity's controlled the glass game today. That last sequence where Ayeye had the offensive rebound, now they're forcing the turnover. But Holy Trinity doesn't get back on defense, and that's what St. Mary's will do to you. Carter Dean's just got to get out of the way there.
Mompoint's starting to get it going. 7 points in this quarter. Miles Reed almost loses it, but he gets fouled. It was on the floor before the shot motion from Reed. And that's the third team foul on St. Mary's.
The Reed brothers have been fantastic. And talk about a basketball family. Their brother Jaden actually plays Big Ten basketball at Northwestern.
Thomas off the inbound, lost it. Herbert got the steal. Patterson up ahead. Fakes, goes up, missed the layup. Rebound pulled in by Patterson, who goes back up and scores. It's down to a single-digit lead for Holy Trinity. Just an 8-point game. 2 minutes to play in the third. Could St. Mary's pull a St. Dominic's-like comeback in this one? They've got 10 minutes of game time to do it. Dean, left wing, double teamed at his own bench. Curls to the top, spins it to Miles Reed. 14 to shoot, and a foul on St. Mary's.
Gales have turned up the dial defensively, forcing Holy Trinity into some tough shots. Tristan Thomas has gone silent in the past few minutes. Titans got to find him soon. Verzosa's got to get a look too here as well. Verzosa and Thomas need the ball in their hands the next few possessions.
Verzosa only 1 3-pointer today. Thomas only 2 second-half points after having 16 in the first half. Ayeye with a ball fake. Drives inside, missed the layup. Rebound Herbert. St. Mary's running again. Williams, layup, got it! Off the feed from Patterson. It's just a 6-point game.
Holy Trinity might need a timeout right now. Things are not going their way.
And just like St. Dominic's did, St. Mary's using their defense to get back in the game as Miles Reed missed the layup. Miles Herbert the rebound. Williams, transition three, bingo! It's a 3-point game with 1 minute to go in the third.
Hank Williams has been waiting for that shot all day, and when he finally got it, he made the most of it.
Tony almost got a steal, but it's out of bounds. Holy Trinity ball. And when Williams made that three, the crowd just erupted on the near side.
Yeah, it's like deja vu all over again, Thomas. Holy Trinity had their hands all over this game for the first 2.5 quarters, but St. Mary's has clawed their way back slowly, and all of a sudden you blink, it's a 3-point game. How about this?
50 seconds to go in the third. Holy Trinity by 3 after leading by double digits moments ago. Ryan Reed inside to his brother Miles, fakes, goes inside, rejected by Herbert. It's out of bounds, stays with Holy Trinity with 13 to shoot.
Gales have been fantastic the final few minutes of this third quarter defensively. Great job by Miles Reed, a couple ball fakes, but Herbert right there to clean it up and block the shot.
10 to shoot for Ryan Reed. Probes on Tony, out to his brother Miles. 5 to shoot, 3 to shoot. Down the left baseline, he fakes, reverses it up, and banks it in as the shot clock expires. No shot clock for St. Mary's. They can hold for the last shot, down by 5 here in the third quarter. 18 seconds to go. Ball in the hands of Miles Herbert, who's got 7 points here in this one. 9 seconds for Herbert. He goes to the left wing with 8, finds Williams for 3, front rim, rebound pulled in by Thomas, 2 seconds. Thomas hoists one up and misses off the glass. That'll do it for the third quarter. 49-44, Holy Trinity leads St. Mary's. And again, just like St. Dominic's did, St. Mary's using the third quarter with their defense to get back in this game.
I think that's been the key the whole day. We saw it in the first game. Chaminade got out to a huge lead. Their defense was so impressive in shutting down Melo Mojit and the rest of the Bayhawks team. The second half in that game, St. Dominic's defense was relentless. Chaminade they forgot how to score the ball, essentially. And then in this game, Holy Trinity's defense was so good in the first 2.5 quarters. St. Mary's was in a funk. They didn't know what they were doing. They were trying to get shots. They couldn't get it. And then recently, St. Mary's has really stepped it up defensively. Holy Trinity, their top two guys, Thomas and Verzosa, have gone silent. And it's a cliche, but defense really does win championships.
It does, but how about that Holy Trinity offense? They're starting to get others involved. Williams hits the big three down the stretch to end that third quarter, and they're starting to move in transition, which is their bread and butter.
They're getting back to their game. They're getting back to what they want to do. They want to run. They want to beat you, and St. Mary's has found their stride.
Let's look at our upcoming broadcast schedule here on the T&D Sports Network. So, got the semifinals today. Then on Friday, Chaminade Iona Prep in Game 2 of the Catholic League Hockey Finals. Then the next day on Saturday, the Catholic League Girls Basketball Semifinals. Then you got the finals on March 2nd. A day after that, the Boys Basketball State Semifinals. Maybe one of those teams will be at that game, either St. Mary's or Holy Trinity, if they can win the Catholic League. Then in April and May, got boys and girls lacrosse, among other games here on the T&D Sports Network. So make sure to tune in. Got all the best coverage here for you across Long Island. Start of the fourth quarter, Holy Trinity has the ball, but not for long is Herbert with the steal. Tony up the middle for Mompoint, and he banks it in. Great start for St. Mary's. It's a one-possession game. A small press from St. Mary's. They break out of it. Ayeye brings it across the timeline. Ryan Reed, right wing. The St. Mary's crowd really getting into this one as their team has started to come back. Thomas swings for Miles Reed, directing traffic with 15 to shoot. High post, Thomas spins and lays it in.
Tony got a little too aggressive, and he paid for it.
5-point lead for Holy Trinity, 50 seconds into this third quarter. Williams on a curl, kicks it for Tony, good catch, dumps it back. Williams step back three, front rim won't go. Tony is gonna try and get that rebound, and he forces a foul on Holy Trinity.
Looked like an over the back to me. Thought they were gonna call that on Tony, but they call it on Holy Trinity. And Thomas, I think things have really started to go differently for St. Mary's when they went to the zone. Talk about that more when they're on defense.
Mompoint right wing almost turned it over with a travel, but resets with Miles Herbert. Patterson left wing. Across for Mompoint, driving right, lost the ball, stolen by Miles Reed, saved by his brother Ryan, ahead to Thomas, all alone for the deuce.
7-point lead now for Holy Trinity. Thomas has got to get involved. He needs to touch every single possession from here on out.
He's now got 20 points. Tony slips, lost it, and a whistle timeout by St. Mary's. So they'll talk things over. Down by 7 with 6:25 to go in the fourth quarter. So Roman, initially a good start for St. Mary's, but Tristan Thomas starting to find his groove once again.
Yeah, he's the engine that makes this Holy Trinity offense run, and he's been fantabulous today for the Titans. He's been the answer to everything St. Mary's has thrown at them. And Thomas, he's just been the key to this offense. He's been awesome today.
He really has been. 22 points for him tonight after 16 in that first half. Just a really awesome performance for him throughout this game, and leading his team as a second-year varsity player, a senior. He's done it all in his career with Holy Trinity.
Yeah, he really has, and he's really earned that commitment to Malloy. He's been so awesome both of these years. He's really grown as the years have gone on, maybe learned from some guys like Barry Pinsky a year ago. He's really started to develop as a player, and he's a stretch forward. He can really do it from anywhere, from inside, from out. He can shoot the three. He's such a problem for some of these defenses, and he's been able to have his way today.
We spoke to head coach Steve Ganous before the game. He said he has high hopes for Thomas at the next level at Malloy. And once head coach Joe Conifrey gets a hold of him, it'll be like old times because he was his coach just a year ago. Out of the timeout, it's Williams to toss it in. Finds Tony on the lob. Top of the key, Mom Point. Sets up the offense with 6:20 to go in the fourth. Gales trail by 7. Looking to keep their season alive and punch a ticket to the championship for the first time since 2011. Tony, right wing, thinking about a 3. Spins at the right elbow, kicks to Williams, 4 to shoot, he heaves one up. That one way off and out of bounds. Holy Trinity ball.
Textbook defense from the Titans. That was what propelled them to such a large advantage earlier in the game. They've got to dial in defensively, buckle down, and keep these St. Mary's shooters at bay.
Andrew John checks out of the game. Miles Herbert back in. 2 men back for pressing purposes for St. Mary's. Ryan Reed having trouble with Patterson, gets it across the timeline and shovels it to his brother Miles. Ayeye right wing, inside to Miles Reed, goes up on Mom Point and banks it in.
St. Mary's just lost him in the paint. Mom Point tried to do whatever he could to contest it, but Miles Reed just stronger.
Tony outside, Williams a 3. That one won't go. Rebound, pop free to Ryan Reed, who lost it for a moment. It's on the ground. Ryan Reed's got it. Reed inside to his brother Miles, spinning, kicking. Ayeye top of the key. Ryan Reed inside. Thomas the fake and the finish plus the foul.
And he adds a little flex, as he should. St. Mary's found themselves at a 4v5. Patterson was down behind the play, and they just didn't account for Thomas, who found himself all alone in the paint. A nice, nifty ball fake gets Tony in the air, the hoop and the harm. And the Titans have responded beautifully to that rush from St. Mary's. And I got to say, I'm really impressed with the way Holy Trinity has played, considering how the last time these two teams, how it went. St. Mary's blew them out at home, and Holy Trinity has responded, and they have risen to the challenge.
A 9-0 run for Steve Ganous's team. They've got a 12-point lead, first double-digit lead since that big comeback by St. Mary's. How will they respond? Herbert right wing, directing traffic with 20 to shoot. Gets to the top of the key, drives inside, spins, and lost it, but a foul. It's against Miles Reed, and Herbert looks like he'll take a trip to the free throw line.
And that was just all Miles Herbert right there. He put the ball on the deck. He put his head down. He went to work. And he just overpowered Miles Reed.
So he'll shoot 2. Disappointing game for Miles Herbert. Misses the first free throw. Still scoreless in this one. Guy who has averaged 15 points per game, had 24 points in the first matchup against Holy Trinity, finally gets on the board with a free throw.
And he's had double digits in every game but 2 for the Gales. He's had 22 double-digit games.
Versosa outside, Ayeye a 3, too strong, and Mom Point the rebound. St. Mary's trails by 11. Mom Point spins down the middle, carves inside, and banks it home. So it's down to a 9-point game with 4:36 to go. Ryan Reed on the near side. Double team comes. Versosa right wing. Timeout Holy Trinity. So with 4:29 to go in the fourth quarter, it is a 9-point lead for Holy Trinity. What a finish here by Justin Mompoint.
Yeah, spun to his left, and he just beat Versosa the up and under. Thomas could not do anything about that terrific finish. And St. Mary's looks like they're going to a bit of a press, a zone press. They brought a double on that last sequence on Ryan Reed. I think the zone defense has worked well for St. Mary's. I know Holy Trinity has kind of found some recent success, but I think the zone defense has worked wonders for St. Mary's. It's allowed them to keep it close. I got to imagine they're going to stick with it here, and I think the press can be good. put a little pressure on Holy Trinity and maybe force them into a few turnovers, get some easy layups, and all of a sudden you're right back in it.
And what about Miles Herbert? We mentioned a 1,000-point scorer, 22 double-digit games, only 2 games without double digits. This one looks like it's going that way. How can he provide a huge impact for the Gales down the stretch?
It might not be on the scoreboard, Thomas. I think Herbert might just, help him, get him to pass it, create for some of these other guys, have him do some ball screens, some off-ball screens, help him get other guys open. It's clear that it's not his night. If he gets a look, obviously he's going to shoot it. But if he doesn't have a look, try and just get him to facilitate for the rest of the offense.
9-point game. The winner will play number 4 seed St. Dominic's in the Catholic League Championship on Friday. Ryan Reed gets the inbound out of the Holy Trinity timeout, leading by 9. Titans lost to St. Anthony's in the semifinals last year. Looking to redeem themselves and get to the championship against St. Dom's. Ryan Reed left wing. Jabs on Patterson, gets to the rim, and finishes over Herbert. Back to an 11-point lead. And Ryan Reed with the steal. Miles Reed all the way. Goes up to the rim and banks it in.
Titans are just flexing their muscles on both sides, and St. Mary's, they haven't had an answer since. They got to go down 13 with 4 minutes to play.
Tony behind the back, dishes inside. That one tipped. Ayeye on the ground, and a jump ball is called. Possession arrow favors St. Mary's, but boy, oh boy, this Holy Trinity defense turning it up a notch.
And what hustle by Ryan Reed from one side of the court to the other, chasing down Patterson and pickpocketing him of the ball. And Miles on the other end, hanging in midair. Another layup over there by Ryan. Just beat his defender easily and scooped it home for 2.
Williams scanning in, finds Mom Point for an easy deuce. So the lead back down to 11. St. Mary's with a press and Williams with a foul. That's the second team foul on St. Mary's and the second personal for Hank Williams.
And he's another guy who's really struggled offensively tonight, similar to Herbert. Again, I think you got to keep those guys in the game because they're so good for you, but maybe have them run a couple off-ball screens, try and get some of the other guys open and help create for some other guys. There's a tough foul on Patterson.
With 3:37 to go in the fourth, Patterson picks up his second. His fourth. So the fourth on Patterson, he's in foul trouble. Leading scorer for today for St. Mary's with 21. Versosa gets open, finds Thomas inside, bobbled the ball, kicked off of Patterson, and Noah Patterson with the steal. He gallops inside, pulls up for 2, and drains it. So the lead back down to single digits. It's a 9-point game. Thomas in transition, open 3. Front rim, rebound, battled for, Herbert's got it. 3 on 2. Mom Point dancing, and he is fouled. It's on Ayeye with 3:04 to go in the fourth.
Thomas did not need that 3 there. If you look at the situation here, Holy Trinity, you're up 9 points with 3 minutes left. You don't need to shoot the ball so early in the shot clock. Take the shot clock all the way down. Drain some clock. You don't have to rush.
3 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. 9-point lead for Holy Trinity as barreling in is Herbert, and he lays it in. So now it's a 7-point game. 6-0 run for the Gales. Holy Trinity needs an answer. Up by 7, and a timeout by Steve Ganous. He wants to talk things over.
I think this is a good timeout for Holy Trinity. St. Mary's is putting them on the ropes, applying some pressure. And I think this is a good timeout for Holy Trinity. I think you've got to tell if you're head coach Ganous, I think you've got to tell the guys not to rush, to take your time, so to speak. Don't put yourself in an unnecessary situation. Don't make an unnecessary pass that could risk a turnover, because all St. Mary's wants to do is get out and run. They want to create turnovers. They want to get stops, and they want to run. If you're Holy Trinity, use up the shot clock. Still try and get a good shot, but you don't have to rush at all.
And with what you just said, you don't want to have any live ball turnovers giving transition to St. Mary's. would that give you more of a reason to put the ball in the hands of a senior leader like Jagger Versosa, like Tristan Thomas, and trust them to bring you to the championship late in this game?
Yeah, these are guys that have had veteran minutes. They've been in moments like this throughout their 4 years. They need the ball every single possession. Every possession's got to be run through those two guys. I think Versosa and Thomas, it's got to end with one of them shooting the ball or creating so that somebody else like the two Reeds or Ayeye can get an open look. I think you've got to try and run a little bit of some picks and screens, try and get some guys open on rolls, penetrate, kick it out, and find an open guy for a three.
2:46 to go in the fourth. Who will meet St. Dominic's in the Catholic League Championship? Holy Trinity leads St. Mary's by 7. Ryan Reed gets the opening inbound out of the timeout. Finds his brother Miles. 20 to shoot. Ryan Reed gets a return. Swings it back for Miles. Cutting is Thomas, and a foul called on Monpoint.
So they have the ball in the Reed twins' hands on that possession. A little bit surprising, but it shows how much they trust these juniors.
Monpoint picks up his third. Versosa left wing. Scanning the floor. Ryan Reed up top. Slows things down with Miles Reed. Fakes a pass. Gets it back to his brother Ryan. Playing a two-man game with Miles. He controls right wing, 15 to shoot. Williams on defense. Reed is suffocated, gets it out. Ryan Reed down inside, kicks it to the right wing. Miles Reed up top, carves inside, layup blocked by Tony. Offensive rebound to Thomas, 2 to shoot, he hoists one up and misses. Offensive rebound to Holy Trinity, and they reset.
They've dominated the glass all night, especially on the offensive end. St. Mary's hasn't done a good enough job boxing out, and the Titans have taken advantage.
Huge offensive rebound for the Titans. Ryan Reed, pull up 2, short, and the rebound to Patterson. St. Mary's runs down the left side. Patterson with the finish.
He only knows one speed, and that's supersonic speed on the other end. Reed did not need that 2-point shot there.
5-point game, tough pass, scooped up by Ryan Reed. Ahead, Versosa, inside to Thomas for 2.
That's textbook job on breaking a press for Holy Trinity. They got to buckle down these next few times on defense.
7-point game, Herbert spinning on Thomas, somehow lays it in. And a timeout by St. Mary's with 63 seconds to play. So St. Mary's still in this thing down by 5. But boy, oh boy, they got to play some defense.
They really do, and Holy Trinity has done a tremendous job creating looks for themselves. I think the big thing, though, throughout this game that we haven't really talked about much is how well Holy Trinity has done on the glass. The amount of times they've gotten a second chance, and it hasn't just been the big boys. It hasn't just been Thomas or Ayeye. It's been the smaller guys. It's been Miles and Ryan Reed who have done their fair share of work on the glass as well. And St. Mary's is usually really strong on the glass, but today they haven't been. And Holy Trinity has been spectacular down low in the paint.
They really have been. That huge offensive rebound earlier, it didn't result in any points, but just drained the clock. Just so important for Holy Trinity down the stretch here.
Yeah, every second is precious for both of these teams. And Holy Trinity, again, you don't need to rush St. Mary's. You've got to play quick. They got to wonder when St. Mary's might consider fouling. Down 5 with a minute left. You could let this possession play out. I'd imagine you will. Try and force Holy Trinity into a tough look, maybe a turnover or a jump ball. I wouldn't consider fouling just yet, but soon for the Gales.
So 63 seconds to play. St. Mary's brings in Evan White for defensive purposes, subbing in for Noah Patterson, who's got 4 fouls. Miles Reed to toss it in. Finds Ayeye, and he is quickly fouled by Herbert. That'll be the team's 5th, and it'll send Ayeye to the free throw line.
So it looks like we've got the long game from here on out as Holy Trinity will be shooting with every foul for the final minute and change of this game. And these guys are strong free throw shooters just like their counterparts at St. Mary's. Ayeye is a guy who can knock it down from deep and do his work inside. So I'm head coach Ganous. I'm really confident with the guys I have out on the floor that they can knock down their free throws.
7 points for Ayeye today. The crowd goes silent as Ayeye spins the ball, fires, and misses the first. So it stays a 5-point lead. Noah Patterson back into the game. Checking out is Evan White. One more for IAA. Chance to make it a 6-point game. He lets it fly and drains it. So it's a 6-point lead for Holy Trinity. St. Mary's has to go quick. Herbert lets the ball spin on the ground. Clock won't start until he touches it. And he does at half court. Herbert top of the key. Sets up the offense on the right wing. Shovels to Mompoint. Now it's Patterson crossing inside. Lost the ball. Stolen by Versosa. And a tie-up is called. It's Holy Trinity ball.
That's a winning play from a winning player. Versosa gets his hands in the cookie jar and draws the tie-up. And he gives his team possession. What a gutsy play. What an effort from Versosa. He hasn't really done much offensively, but that play makes up for all of it.
Only 3 points tonight, but maybe the biggest play of the day for Jagger Versosa. Ryan Reed wide open across the timeline. Feeds to 26 points for Thomas. Now make it 27. Patterson back into the game for White. But it might be too little, too late for St. Mary's. Coming into this one, winning 14 straight. Defeated Holy Trinity on February 10th by 22 points. But the Titans now lead by 8. Herbert up the middle for Tony. Gallops inside. Scoop layup off the glass. No. Rebound.
They're going to call goaltending, I'm pretty sure.
Yep, that's what they're going to call, a goaltend. Looks like Tristan Thomas slapped the backboard, and that moved the rim just ever so slightly to force the refs to call goaltending. 40.6 to go. Down to a 6-point lead for Holy Trinity, 67-61. Miles Reed to inbound. Holy Trinity with a 3-man press. Herbert comes back as well. Ryan Reed ahead to Versosa. Lobs it for Thomas, who lays it in. 8-point game, shot clock is off. 30 seconds, Herbert is fouled with 28.7 to go.
Not a smart play fouling if you're Holy Trinity, but can't say enough about what Tristan Thomas has done tonight, approaching his career high of 30 points. And he's been tremendous all night for Holy Trinity when they've needed him to step up. He has risen to the challenge, and the Titans got to love the spot they're in, up 8 with 30 seconds left.
Williams to inbound. Lobs it for Tony. He's got it left wing, up top for Patterson. Across, Mompoint hoists up a 3. Too strong. Rebound, saved in by Herbert. Pulled in by Tony, who spins. Blocked by IAA. It's saved in by Thomas, right to Herbert, who's fouled. Under 13 seconds to go in the fourth quarter, and the frustration showing from St. Mary's as Hank Williams slapped the ball to the ground.
They faced one of the best defensive teams on Long Island, and the Titans put up one of their best defensive performances all season. Came in to this game giving up just 58.6 points against league opponents, and they have held one of the most potent offenses on Long Island to just 61 points tonight.
Herbert misses another free throw. It has not been his night. The 1,000-point scorer has 8 points, but after the first half, he had none. He intentionally misses this free throw. Ayeye grabs the rebound, ahead for Miles Reed, and Holy Trinity can dribble it out. The Titans are going on to the Catholic League Championship to face St. Dominic's on Friday night. The final score, Holy Trinity 69, St. Mary's 61. What a victory for Steve Ganoush's team in his first season as head coach. He's moving on to the Catholic League Championship.
What a moment. In his first season, they've won 21 games. Just an outstanding season from the Titans. It started back in December. It's continued all of this success into February. And can't say enough about what Tristan Thomas did tonight, but it was really a team effort from Holy Trinity. I mentioned Versosa didn't really have the offensive success that he's had throughout the season, but he did it in other ways. Defensively, he had that huge tie-up at the end. The Reed brothers were outstanding. Manny Ayeye, he's their leading scorer. Also a bit of an off night offensively, but he was integral on the rebounding. On the glass, he was outstanding. And Holy Trinity, they did what they had to do. A full team effort got the job done.
30 points for Tristan Thomas, and what a performance for Steve Ganouse's team. Just unbelievable how great of defense they played against a potent offense in St. Mary's.
Yeah, they did their homework. They learned from the last time. When they matched up late February in the regular season, St. Mary's put up 88 points, and quite frankly, they embarrassed Holy Trinity on their home court. The Titans did their homework. They learned what they did wrong. They improved. They worked in practice, and boy, did they show up. Did what they learned in practice, boy, did that show up today, and they really locked down such a good St. Mary's offense.
So how about this? We come into the day thinking it's going to be Chaminade and St. Mary's are the two favorites. Well, it's the complete opposite. St. Dominic's and Holy Trinity get the wins today here on the T&D Sports Network. Thanks so much for joining us for our statisticians, Peter Kirchian and Jack Dunphy. Thanks for their help, for our whole entire camera crew here at Adelphi University. Holy Trinity will meet St. Dominic's in the championship on Friday as they pull the upset on St. Mary's. 69-61 is your final. Have a great night.